Hey guys, how's it going? Entropy here today with another video. So before I begin, thank you all so much for your support. I heard a lot of good feedback and appreciation for the future keywords video. So I'm gonna keep working on this kind of type of video. So today we're gonna be talking about future broken cards in the break ride era. So again, it's supposedly set 9 to set 12. There are going to be 2 new clans in addition to other clans that they have to support in this next era, so maybe it will be include set 13 or so, but we'll have to see what game studio really decides to do. So again, if you started with this video, be sure to check out my keywords video, because I will be referencing some of these new terms that you might not be familiar with, as they are not in the game right now. And if you did, be sure to subscribe, check out my channel, and let me know what you want to see next. Alright, so the way these videos will work is that I will talk about approximately one of the most broken cards per set in general, and of course what's a set in the booster set does not necessarily equivalent to what game studio defines as a set, but here we go. So the first card from BT10, the first set of this era, Eradicator, Dragonic, Descendant. This card is ridiculously overpowered. It had to get banned. Not necessarily banned, restricted in the actual paper format, and I'll tell you why. First of all, its skill is Limit Break 4, Counterblast 1, choose 3 Eradicator's cards and discard them. At the end of the battle, this card attacked. If it did not hit, you can pay the cost if you do stand this unit. And it gets +1 critical until the end of the turn. So that's ridiculous because, first of all, if you attack with it, right, and your opponent's at 5, they proc a PG, well, you get to restand with an extra crit. So if your opponent only has 1 PG, they're forced to use it in this game, in 0. So you restand with 2 crit and you attack. So you can even go through, if you can go through a second PG, or you can beat their safety net. You can beat their 6 damage heal. If they get 2 6 damage heal, well, kind of sucks. But this card just makes that the first 6 damage heal at least kind of redundant at the low cost of Counterblast 1. In addition, we know how important that 5k is in this game, and this card gets an on-demand power bonus of 5k. So if this card is your second attack to your opponent's Vanguard, your rearguard column attack first, your opponent gets +5, then Descendant by itself can still hit 16 or 21 if you can spare the counterblast, and still restand with that extra power on top. It's ridiculous. There are other really good cards in BT10, like the Jewel Knights, that will make passive criticals, and another Eradicator, Gauntlet Buster Dragon. So be sure to check them out, but this is definitively the best card from that set. Alright, next set, BT12. So I kind of skipped BT11 because there was one particular card that I really wanted to showcase from another set. And BT11 honestly was kind of underwhelming. But let's talk about BT12 first. Revenger, Raging Form, Dragon. This card's skill is Limit Break 4, choose 3 of your rearguards with Revenger in its card names, and retire them. And if you do, at the end of the battle, you can choose 1 Raging Form Dragon from your hand, write it as stand, and choose your Vanguard and get plus 10k. So what this means is, well, retire 3 is quite a steep cost, right? Especially since your front row are your intercepts. But by riding on top of it, first of all, the retired units actually get to dodge lock, which, if you've seen the keyword video, is extremely powerful in the coming format. Secondly, the additional 10k power really does help you hit through that damage trigger. And as we all know, it's just really important. Most importantly, this card says at the end of the battle, this unit attacked, right? Unlike this Dragonic Descendant, or unlike the end needs you to hit, Descendant needs you to not hit. This guy just says, well, I'm done attacking, let's just go for another attack. Plus 10k, so it should be able to get over the defensives. And if it doesn't, well, if it really needs to hit cross-run numbers, you can still Counterblast 1, give it +3, and it'll hit 14 or 24. And it's just really, really solid. And then BT13. This is when the metagame shifts. This is where Link Joker was introduced into the main game. And what it does is it just shuts down your opponent's game plans and plays with the new lock keyword. So its skill is counterblast 1, choose a card with Star-vader in its card name from your hand and discard it, and choose one of your opponent's rear guards, doesn't restrict front row or back row, and lock it. So this was game breaking because, you know, in BT12 there was Link Joker cards, but generally speaking they were more balanced, and most of the cards only allowed you to lock the back row units. So this card lets you lock the front row units, and not only does that mean your opponent can attack with that unit, in this game it means your opponent can intercept and protect themselves with that unit. So that's really important. In addition, while yes, lock, you know, the cards does unlock themselves at the end of turn, and as a Link Joker player, you never got to punish that beforehand. Chaos Breaker Dragon fixes that problem by having its second skill, Limit Break 4, Soul Blast 1. During your opponent's end phase, when they unlock, you get to pay the cost. If you do, retire it and draw a card. So when your opponent ends, right, you know, they're like, oh, thank God, I get to unlock. At least I get an intercept next turn. Nope, you retire it, you get rid of it from the board. You lock the other one. You have 3 attacks to the face. Ridiculously powerful. Then in BT14, we get to showcase another new clan, Genesis, Omniscience, Regalia, Minerva. So the Genesis clan lets you do something similar as the OTT clan. It lets you check top card. It does play more with the soul, so you will see Soul Blast as a cost for these skills. But generally, with this card, you get to pay the cost. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 3, discard 3, and then after it attacks, you can stand and get +5. So it's kind of similar to Raging Form, where you -3, Counterblast 1, but with an additional cost of Soul Blast 3. And instead of having to reride, you get to just restand this unit and get +5. And this card's actually really good because, first of all, it's a cross-ride. And you can look into Regalia of Wisdom Angelica as well, because it works really, really well with this card. But just by this card itself, let's talk about it. Again, restanding 11k into 16k lets you hit over and punish PGs. Again, same as Raging Form. It doesn't require it to hit or require not to hit. It just attack and then attack again. And most importantly, as we talked about, Genesis is about checking the top cards, similar to OTT. So you can set up your triggers, put it on Regalia. You're not rewriting on top of it, so it actually keeps the trigger effects. So definitely playtest it with draws normally, but definitely playtest it with crits because it actually keeps the crit, and you can attack twice, regardless if it hits or not. So 9 crit works better with this card than the end. Definitely try that out. And then BT15. This is the ultimate, the last set of this era. Revenger Dragruler Phantom. Now, if you're familiar with the TCG, this card wasn't really popular. I really loved it, but Raging Form Dragon was just better. In this game, though, it's a really different story. Dragruler Phantom is a cross-ride. He gets power and deals 1 damage just by paying a cost, and you can do it as many times as you want per turn. Its skill is counterblast 1. Choose 2 of your rear guards with Revenger and retire them. It gets +10. So it hits numbers, and if your opponent's damage zone is 4 or less, your opponent takes 1 damage. Of course, they still get to do a damage check, so if they hit a trigger, they still get +10, but you get +10, so you can still hit over them. In addition, with the Revenger system, Shadow Paladins, they just get card advantage so fast. The Counterblast 2 is just, it's just a cheap cost. Counterblast 1, they have Cursed Lancer if you really need to unflip, but honestly, you don't even need to. Dragruler Phantom is just such a strong card in this game because you can't guard with your hand. So just, using Dragruler Phantom once or twice when your opponent's at 3 or 4 damage, push them to 5. Your opponent can't guard, they have to use PGs. Boom. Just win the game right there. Incredible. Don't overlook it just because it was not a popular pick in the paper format. And next, again, I didn't pick a card from BT11 because of this amazing boss unit from, once again, Link Joker, Star-vader, Omega Glendios, right? Remember when we talked about reverse units and lock, and I briefly mentioned Omega Lock in the keywords video? Well, this is where Omega Lock comes in. Everything comes into play. Omega Glendios is kind of like the big boss for Link Joker for this era. And what it does is, for the first time in the game, it gives you an alternate win condition, right? At Limit Break 5, so Ultimate Break, if your opponent's number of locked units is 5 or more, you win the game. Usually, when your opponent's locked units is 5, 4, just 3, they probably already lost. But just in case, you can't finish off the game, or you just want to troll, there, just a different way of winning, It's casually changing up the game, just one card at a time. Its second skill is Limit Break 4, counterblast 1, discard a reverse unit, and then lock, and then all of your opponent's locked cards cannot be unlocked during their next end phase. So this is what they call Omega Lock, because generally lock only works for one turn, but this sustains that lock, which makes that alternate win condition actually feasible. And then the third skill is when your unit with reverse incarnate is placed in the Regalia circle, you can lock one. So every single turn, if you just keep doing it, you get to lock one, lock one, lock one, lock one, just calling a unit. And these rearguards turn into like jokers, so they're dual clan, and they get plus 4k. So generally they're 11ks, plus 4, 15ks. So 15k rearguards, pretty good. There's also support for Omega Glendios that are just flat out ridiculous in this zero system. There's a 7k that redirects attacks to reverse units. Interesting to see how Game Studio works with that. But Omega Glendios, this is the card that defines this era. And then one last honorable mention, the extra boosters. Generally speaking, they're not very impactful, but Transcendence, Dragonic, Nouvelle, Fate. If anyone actually gets the reference, and this is to go even further beyond, comment down below, old school anime chads. But anyways, this card is the first legal grade 4 card you can play in the game. I say that because there's actually a Great Nature grade 4 promo that came out when Blue Storm, the Aquaforce trial that came out. But that card was, for Bushiroad to see if grade 4s were feasible in the first place. Anyways, Nouvelle Vague is insane. First of all, it's 13k base, right? And usually we only see this as a cross-rate card, but by itself it's 13k. Its skill is Limit Break 4, Counterblast 3, Soul Blast 3, Persona Blast, so discard itself from your hand, and retire all of your opponent's rearguards. It's a hefty cost. Generally speaking, you won't be using this anytime soon, but if the stars do align and your opponent has a big board, then just and it's gone. It's just gone. But the most important skill this card has is during your turn, all of your opponent's trigger effects are nullified. Nulled. None of their draw triggers work. Defensive. None of their heals work. So if you're annoyed with 6 damage heals, this is the card for you. Third, during the battle that this unit attacks, your opponent can all call grade 0 units from your hand to the Guardian Circle, so they can't guard with it. This skill, I assume, will not translate well into 0. So maybe they'll do something with something similar to what Glory Maelstrom's getting. They must discard something to activate PG or so. But this skill will probably get removed or altered quite a bit in order to make it more applicable to the system. And on rearguard it gets minus 1000, but still as a 12k attacker, it's still really, really good. Some people might think, oh, grade 4s, oh, how inconsistent, right? Because you have to ride grade 3 and then grade 4. You can't ride grade 4 by itself. But there are cards that help you fetch grade 3s if you start with no grade 3s, and honestly it's more consistent than it should be. And nullifying heals, man, that's huge. That's huge. Alright, I guess that's just a really quick overview of the few broken cards in my personal opinion that will really, really impact the game. If you have any questions, any thoughts, other cards that you think I really should bring up as well, be sure to let me know. Also, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I really need the support. And be sure to check out my other videos. If you're a new player, maybe you should check out my Starting from Zero series. If you're, just more serious, but you're not very familiar with the paper format, let me know. So I'll make more of these future videos, so you better you know how to invest and save your resources better. And if you really want to bring your game to the next level, then check out my advanced guides and other theory pieces. So yeah, thank you all for watching. All right, see you next time.